Good morning, welcome to the channel. My name is Simon. Together with my wife Kathy and our two Yorkies, we continuously cruise the canals and rivers of the UK. Today we're coming up in front of Castleford floodlock. Here we're going to turn to port left. This takes us now towards Lemonroyd and onwards towards Leeds. It did sound our hooter just to warn anybody that's coming and couldn't see us that we're coming around the corner. But still got to keep your eyes peeled because there's some speedy people and there's also the commercials to remember. The buildings we've gone past on the right hand side are the old tax offices for the canals. Where all the boaters had to pay their dues to use the canals and the rivers. This was payback for the companies that dug the canals. So they made their money. Shortly on the right hand side, you're going to see a boat that's sunk. Can't remember how far down, may still be a little way. Because of the overgrowth on the bank on the right hand side, there's obviously narrowing in this section. Certainly keeps you on your toes concerning oncoming traffic. It's a beautiful serene part of the river when the river's not in flood. If we turn right at the junction that we've just turned at, we would have continued on down the river and come to a massive weir, which would have been a bumpy ride. In the weir there is actually an old barge hull slowly rusting away that broke away from the mill and went over the weir and obviously wasn't economically viable to recover. As you can see, the day continues to be overcast and grey. Not bad for cruising. This whole video is done with voiceover because continuing issues with the microphone. Actually, not sure that we're using the external mic, rather just the mic on the phone, so that will have to get sorted before we continue our vlogging journey. The river is actually quite boring to travel on. Because on a narrow boat you stand down so low, can't really see over the banks when the river's down at this level. But certainly the curvy nature of this section helps break the monotony. One thing on a river when you're cruising, the depth helps improve the efficiency of the propeller and everything, because there's greater depth of water. Once we get back onto the shallower canals, they have a speed limiting effect because the faster you try and go, the more your stern dips and starts dragging close to the water, to the bottom of the canal, and can actually drag or just creates so much turbulence you don't actually go anywhere very fast. Gentle sweeping curve. Meander along. And there's the boat that I mentioned earlier that sunk. It is a full-size narrowboat, it's not a shorty, the rest of it's underwater. I don't know what's left inside there that hasn't rotted away or been salvaged. I'd have to assume it sunk in a flood state or something along those lines, or was abandoned and it just wasn't economically viable to retrieve it. Whether there was insurance involved or not, I don't know. To get a crane to this area to lift it out would have been a bit of a challenge, but I'm sure it could have been pumped out and refloated if it had been viable. Now it just becomes a landmark on the river. Now we just carry on to the next point of interest. If it's such, Allerton Bywater, which is a small village on the side of the canal. There is a pub there, or we now believe it's actually closed. There was a pub. There's a wharf which you can moor at. Always remembering that it is a river and the heights can fluctuate quite significantly in rain. Also, we got notification from Canal and River Trust that there's a sunk boat drifting around somewhere in the area. The fact that it seems to move with the flow of the river would suggest it's a cruiser, small cruiser, so it's not pinned to the bottom. Maybe there's some kind of notice or buoys or something to warn you where it is. We'll just take it very cautiously. Here we are coming up to the wharf at Allerton Bywater. You see it's quite high, obviously to cater for an increase in the river level. Keeping an eye out for the sunk boat. Don't see any sign of it, or don't see any sign of any buoys either. With the shallow draft we've got, it's more than likely that we will go over it anyway. The turbulence caused by one of the commercial boats, or both of them, probably move it around a bit. And I of course already shredded it. Here we go a little bit to the port side, left. Thought I saw a buoy, but it's actually a swan. Might be an idea to go visit an optician one of these days, or maybe just keep the glasses. A couple of boats moored up here. Quite a scramble to get off them. Not so much off the cruiser, that's high deck, but the wide beam, bit of a climb. Peaceful spot. No sign of a sunk boat. Just keep going, keep an eye out for it. I just had a look at my watch and decided that we're probably in the times that the commercial would be coming down this section of the river as well. Let's get past this section and keep a beady eye out. very far, so if there is anything in the way of that, quite easy to avoid. Hovering to the left of the trees because the last notification we received was it was in this area specifically. We're now past where they said there might be a sunk boat. Didn't see any sight or sign of it. So maybe it's too deep for us to see. But it's possible it's already been removed, but I find that highly unlikely. So we'll just continue through the section with all the trees. The river does widen slightly ahead of us. Keep a sharp lookout going around these curves. Wait and see what comes towards us. Oh, here it comes. Cruising quite nicely. It's got a serious bow wave. He's just sounded his hooter. I have waved to indicate I've seen him. As I dive off into the trees on the right hand side. You obviously can't go too far to our left because deeper draft, although it is running empty, but he's got some momentum there. As he's past, we'll turn into the wash to splash our way through it. So these are working right. Wave, so hello. We've got the heartbeat up a little bit. There's a bit of twitch on the old sphincter muscle. Wally having a look around, trying to see what's going on. That was a bit of fun for the day. He goes past us. Not breaking any speed limits, but yeah, I'm glad the river had widened up slightly there and we were coming off a corner. Kathy just came out and passed a few salacious comments. So now should be a fairly straightforward cruise to Lemonroyd. This section here is another old wharf, and you can see the silt build up there. And last year or the year before, when we came past here, there was a boat grounded on that mud. I'm guessing he was going to go and moor up against that wharf, and the silt got hold of him. It wasn't deep enough, or he did get partially weight in and the levels dropped, but yeah, that boat was there for quite a few weeks. You have the ubiquitous floating dustbin. It's hardly floating, but it's sort of drifting around there. Here we carry on down. This is one of the 2-foot bridges over the river. A lot of nice walks along this section. Cycle routes, walking road routes. Very peaceful through the woods. Dedicated footpaths. Up ahead you can see the Lemonroyd lock coming into view. As we go into the little inlet off the river where the lock is, there is a lock landing on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side there are bollards if the commercials need to moor up. These locks have been around for a long time. The commercial moorings would be used when the lock was not working, or during night if they didn't run at night. When we were staying here last year, one of the commercials came through late at night and moored up there, and then in the morning I helped him through the lock and a nice chat, learned they are busy with a third boat. We're going to run here, so there'll be 3 of these commercial aggregate boats, just to add to the fun. But it's currently in a dock and hull being shortened so that it fits into these locks. And, not specifically these locks here at Lemonroyd, but the ones where you go up there and colder towards Stanley Ferry, where you get a little bit shorter. If you go right here, just around the corner there is a weir. So, usual bumpy ride, but today the river is very calm. Wind is pretty minimal. Just drifting there. Back in the day when the lock was operated from the tower, we would have had a good view in either direction. See what was coming, prepare the lock. Whichever side was going to be used. There they are in radio contact with the commercials. So we've had pre-warning. Made it a pretty seamless operation, I think, as long as the commercials were running on some kind of time schedule. As you can see, this lock landing is not a pontoon, it is a fixed concrete structure. So what they've done is they've put 3 levels on here. So if you are brave enough and got big enough kahunas to run when it's flooding, you would still be able to moor up here. Currently we will use, we'll climb off on the lowest section, and then we'll use that bollard you can see on the left to hold the boat. As you'll see shortly, this lock gets quite turbulent and the water is being released through the sluices. It's a big lock that holds quite a few thousand litres of water, tens or maybe hundreds of thousands. Have to do the maths. You can see today is still quite cool. Got the obligatory Yorkshire uniform on of shorts and a hoodie. Let's bring the boat in. The amble's off to go and operate the lock. Not particularly strenuous as it's electric, like they've all been for months. I'm watching closely, wondering why he's having to stay on the boat and sniff the good smells. Here I'm just going to put a couple more loops around the bollard, ready for the water to bumble out. I'd probably say thunder out. I'll fix in there just with a hold. I'll come back and fix the phone so I can get a better view of the lock emptying, pick up better sound effects, the water roaring out. When the sluice is open, there will be quite a surge of water. You can see from the water coming through the gates, it's full all the way to the top. Here we go. And there's the water erupting out of there. Quite turbulent. And what you've got to imagine is when we're in the lock and you open the front gates, front sluices, this is what comes in. There's a little bit better control than this. See, this is pulling hard. Probably going to try and move the boat backwards. Hopefully my knot is good enough. Dropping a lot of water out this lock. Thank you for watching. Apologies for the technical errors and the battery going flat. Still in a learning curve. Know what to keep checking. But please subscribe if you still enjoyed it. Click the like button and put some comments. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.